I'm a positive person. I was there a long time. They were very good to me for a very long time, and I care a lot about them. And unfortunately, just didn't work out. I actually had lunch with Dr. Moss, and we were just
Dr.
talking.
Bill.
And Dr. Bill was like, "Well, what do you want to do? What's the Brad? What's your why? What's your reason?" So I was going to work on myself. Being a better father, getting in shape. I lost like 40 pounds working out, started eating right, started exercising, and it really kind of going through a lot of self-evaluation in every stage of my life. So, business being one of them, my relationships, my charity work, all things that I do, like there has to be a why or a reason,
Mr. Coley.
Mr. Vasquez.
What's up, dude?
How are you, brother?
Yeah, chilling, man. It's, I would say I haven't seen you in a while, but that's false.
Yeah.
Little sushi action.
It was good. It was good.
It was pretty good. I usually go to Tokyo.
Do you?
Yeah, because I don't know. It's just where I went. And I forget that Moss is there.
Yeah, my son got me into Masa. He's a big sushi fan, and we've been going there. And then next thing you know, it turned in kind of like a monthly thing. So
that's good.
We really enjoy it.
And your son's surprising me with his entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah.
He just hooked up my truck last week again.
Very
detail
nice.
number 2.
Yeah, he does a good job. Him and his buddy Jacob, they're both college baseball players,
Yep.
broke, and they're looking to make some money, and they're both motorheads and into cars, so it's a good business for the two of them, and
yeah,
they're hustlers. So
yeah, I mean, truthfully, I remember texting you and Aaron like the first time. I was like, "Yo, your boy does a good job." Just so you know.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then now here's the good thing about Brad. So I did it the second time, and I was like, "Yeah, man, it looks great. Love when you guys do my truck." And he was like, "Well, if you'd like, we can do it monthly." And I was like, "There you go. That's how you do it.
That's my boy.
Offer the service.
Yes.
Like, we can do it monthly." I'm like, "Why, yes, young man. Put me on your
monthly."
And he's like, "Okay, I'll be texting you." I'm like, "Thank you."
Okay, so he does listen.
I'm like, I'm like, "Look at this kid." I'm like, good job. Because I love the service. I like having a clean truck.
Yeah,
it's just,
for sure.
I don't, we've talked about this before. It's one of the things I definitely spent too much money on, but I love it. It's my toy.
You got a good style in trucks.
Yes, I do, and I like it when it's clean. And
For
unfortunately, yes, unfortunately, one of my best friends is a dog. His name is Lucas, and he has white hair, and he sheds. And if you can imagine having a white dog that sheds in the back of a black truck, and Brad Jr. made note of that the first time. I think he was like, "You had a lot of dog hair back there." I'm like, "Yeah,
nice."
Which is why I'm probably going on the monthly,
right?
Because then it's easier for him also to get my truck detailed a lot quicker.
Yeah, man, makes sense.
Yeah,
it's
for
good.
Sure. No, yeah, for sure, man. But entrepreneurial spirit is there with the Coleys. Obviously, Aaron and Debbie do the We Talk thing, which they're beautiful people, and hooked me up with some biz back in the day.
Awesome.
And now, Mr. Coley.
Yes.
Mr. Coley, bring you on.
Finally.
Because, I know. I got a lot of you guys out there going, even, let's see, Daskus has yelled at me. Holler hasn't yelled at me yet. I'm waiting for it.
I knew I'd probably get the call,
Yeah,
but
it's you know what it is? I almost felt like, it's like playing video games. Like if I call Coley on, it's putting it on easy mode.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. You know the guy already. You know where you're going. Whereas when you bring somebody in and you've never even met them before, it's like the expert level. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Is this going to roll?
They're so good, though, man. I love watching them, man. The one last week was really good. I watched Russell's and, Shanks, and, Justin's just amazing just to see what he's done.
He's the guy.
So, yeah, they're really good. So you're doing a great job with them.
Thanks, man. Well, we had lunch. We spoke about our past, and I think listening to that story was like, okay, I need to bring Coley on. And we both were, I guess, what do you call them, victims of businesses that did well with us, and they figured, hey, we don't need this guy anymore.
Yeah, I to an extent. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put you in that position.
Yeah.
I mean, my old place, I'll never say by name.
I'm a positive person. I was there a long time. They were very good to me for a very long time. And I care a lot about them. And, unfortunately, just didn't work out,
Right on. But the great thing is, even, you know, when I got let go from that gig, it feels like the world is ending. Everything's falling apart. What am I going to do? Blah blah blah. And then out comes the greatness.
Yeah, it's not like one of those things that happened overnight. There was
Yeah.
like signs down the road, and I'm obviously my eyes were open to it. So, I kind of had like a plan. Not that I was going to move it in motion as fast as it did, but the more I was there, the more seemed like I wasn't going to be there in the future. So, kind of was working some things in the back of my mind, doing some research. And in 2020, was it 2020 before the year of COVID? I actually had lunch with Dr. Moss, and we were
Yeah,
just
Dr.
talking.
Bill.
And Dr. Bill was like, "Well, what do you want to do? What's the Brad? What's your why? What's your reason?" It just kind of challenged me to think kind of outside the box. So, what I came up with, between him and I were like the year of Brad, you know? So I was going to work on myself, being a better father, getting in shape. I lost like 40 pounds working out, started eating right, started exercising, and it really kind of going through a lot of self-evaluation in every stage of my life. So, business being one of them, my relationships, my charity work, all things that I do, like there has to be a why or a reason.
Right.
So, I kind of went through that, and then, obviously COVID happened, and, things went the way they did. And, honestly, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because, I'm kind of a loyal person, and, probably would not have done it the way I did it, but, hey, here we are. And I would never look back. I wish I would have did it, honestly, 5, 10 years sooner. So,
Yeah, when you finally realize that I'm not gonna say it's not that hard, but it's not that scary.
it's
Once
really
you
not.
jump in.
It's not. It really isn't. And the biggest thing was deciding which direction I was going to go, because I had looked at all the big hitters, all the main players, and I really wanted to do something outside the box and something different. And I really thought I was going to do kind of like the State Farm gig. Love the guy that was recruiting me, and had a really good relationship with that, and just the more I just came and researched it, like this Goosehead kept popping up. And when I really did my research, between the technology, the research, the products, everything, it just, the ability to not be tied to an office, to come out and be able to do some different stuff, very technology driven, which was the scariest thing for me because I don't really consider myself a technical person. But once I jumped in and got a grasp of everything, full speed ahead. So it's been really, really great. It's a little over 2 years. I think I'm in like 25 months now. So it's going really well. So,
So why Goosehead? Like, what was the main thing with those guys?
I really liked the energy. It was started by Mark and Robin Jones. She was basically a real estate investor who wanted, was frustrated that she couldn't find insurance products or agents to meet all of her needs. Service, couldn't get calls back, couldn't get quotes within a week, so her husband was an executive at Bain and Capital, and they kind of put this plan together and launched this company. But the energy, and everything around it, like the tools that they give you to be successful, was really intriguing to me. And then I went down to Texas, and I was just like blown away. And just the vision that they have. Like their goal is to be the number one largest insurance distributor in the country.
Right on.
They're one of the largest independent insurance brokerage in the country, but their goal is to be like number one. And you see everybody and all the tools and the energy that they have to focus on this. Is it perfect? No, but everything that they're doing, technology, constant technology, new, is gearing towards building this whole product and this whole company. And, it's really exciting to be a part of it.
Cool, man. I definitely dig. I know you do a bunch of our stuff.
Yeah.
Like Jill, my wife, she handles that stuff. It's like, just call Coley. I'm like, I remember the one time I was getting rates from you. You're like, send me these sheets, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Jill's in tune with that. So.
Yeah, dude, I'm the worst. But I want to go back to that time when, like, you got the news that you had to leave your old place. Like, what did how did you feel? What did you do? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to open up wounds, but I'm trying to like just show people like, that a lot of us go through this stuff that they might be going through.
Yeah, so like obviously initially it was shocking. Um, and it's kind of like a divorce, you
Yeah.
have people that you really love and care about you know, and something you dumped your heart and soul into for a long time and then then it's not there. So yeah, there's a lot of a scale of emotions. Like, I was upset and like the same thing is like any breakup.
It's
Um,
so much like that,
it
man.
really is,
Yeah,
but like again, I still have a lot of love for them. I'm not bitter in any way. Shit happens. Things happen for a
absolutely.
reason. But you make the positive and you make the best of it. But there was a sea of emotions. Um, you know,
Did it take you a while um, to get back into the game? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I know when I got the news that day, I think my wife had to smack me out of it after about 2 weeks. Like, she literally just like was like, "Stop being a bitch and get your shit going." Because because I spent five. I know you were at your place longer. I spent 5 years, but like my business was doing well. It was an old client, and she was like, "Come on my team." I'm like, "No," because I was caring about my business. And she was just like, "I'll pay you this much," and I was like, "Fuck." A lot of cash. And I was like,
yeah.
well, I got the girls, we're trying to buy a house. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I spent 5 years there. And then I woke up the one day and I couldn't get into any email, couldn't get into the servers. And I was like, oh shit, I'm getting fired today. My wife was like, what do you mean? Like, you've been working with her for so long, blah, blah, blah. And she called me and was like, hey, thanks for all your years of service. We no longer need to work together or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was it, man. And that hit me hard. And it was like, I was acting like whatever for 2 weeks. And my wife was like, bro, you're fucking Freddie Vasquez. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but you were kind of that smack in the face for me.
Really?
Yeah, I was sitting at home and kind of similar thing, I was bummed out and you just called me up. You're like, "How you doing, bro?" Like it's
Yeah.
COVID. You remember that?
I remember us having lunch in my kitchen.
Yes.
Was that like
that was
was that still COVID?
no, that was maybe.
Because I remember you
Might
coming
have.
over, you brought like 2 beers.
Yes.
And I still had to go to work after
Yeah.
that. You brought me like these
2-pounders.
I was like, bro, what's
Two
in
Voodoo
this?
Rangers, yeah.
Oh, the Lone Ranger. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that was a good afternoon.
It was good. So yeah, you were like, all right, well, get your shit together and do it. This is your opportunity. So
I mean, what do you tell your friends? What do you tell them when they're going through the shit?
there's not a lot you can tell. I mean, there were some complications to it, and but I talked to a lot of different people in the industry, in the real estate industry. I really have some great friends and connections, and I bounce a lot of ideas off a lot of different people, and talk to a lot of people. Like our business model is focused on realtors and loan officers, and I talked to a lot of those people that I know in the industry and said, "Hey, this is the concept, this is the deal." Before I actually launched and got all great positive feedback. So I kind of really did a lot of research, for Goosehead and for other companies. I've been very blessed to have a lot of great friends, a lot of great connections that I built over the years and 15 years in this business. So I think, people know who I am.
Yeah, for sure.
They know my reputation and it was in my life has not really changed. The only difference is my name's on the door. I still operate the same way. I still try to, build relationships, network, get out there in the community, and give great service, and that's the pride of one of the things I've always prided myself on. So, that's just what the focus is.
Yeah, and that was
And
one of
always been.
the first things that I told my wife, and I was like, she's like, well, what about insurance for this? I'm like, call Coley. Like number one, but
Appreciate that,
why?
man.
But why? The why is he picks up the phone. I remember every time I've ever called you, you picked up the phone. Like not even non-business too, but nah, man. I was like, I need this, or hey, can you send me this, or can you get me that? And we're both busy dudes.
Sure.
I know it's not always easy to stop what you're doing to go get me a piece of paper that I probably should have printed and put in my vehicle, which I do have that now, so I'll never bother you for that again.
We have the technology with the dashboard that you could set up. It's all there for you.
Such an idiot. Such an idiot. It's crazy how I work in like marketing and newer technology, but I still want that piece of paper in an envelope in my freaking glove compartment. But you picked up the phone, dude. Like that's just customer service.
Sure.
Nobody wants to wait. Especially I'm assuming in your industry, because what if it is an accident, or what if it is like home damage, or whatever the case is. Customer service goes a long way, dude. And
sure.
and I'm realizing that more as I get older. How you tend to see how not everybody takes that so seriously, and that's going to get you ahead. And I mean, even my wife is price conscious. She'll come to me and say, hey, might be a little bit too expensive than the other guy. I'm like, yeah, but is that worth going to the other guy?
Sure.
I'm not a big go to the other guy kind of person.
Well, I appreciate that. Loyalty is important. The one thing that I will say is, as far as like the technology that Goosehead has, we're in an industry that's constant, need, especially these younger generations, with the Facebook and everything. I have technology where you can direct agent link. So I can send you a QR code. You can get 15 different companies to quote you like instantaneously.
Wow.
Like there's the technology that we have is amazing. You can get quotes online. You can text our customer service team. If you call my office right now, I have a regionalized service team. So even if I'm not there, I'm out here doing a podcast, my clients are still getting service.
That's cool.
They're going to our service team. The biggest thing for me being that way, that customer service oriented and always wanting to pick on the phone, was kind of to retrain myself on how to let go of some stuff that I don't need to handle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of tough. Like, friends call me with a claim. Like, I really have to trust our claims team and process. Hey, no problem. Everybody okay? You good? Yeah, okay, fine. Let me have one of our claims specialists give you a call. What time should we have them call you? Okay, we'll set up a call. I create a ticket, call them from 3 to 4. Okay. So like we have 35 different companies, I think, that we work with, right? So for me to learn every single claims process or service process, I'd make myself nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But we have people trained and specialized. All right, if it's a Travelers or a Safeco claim, it goes to A, Progressive goes to B. And these people, our customer service team is really amazing. They're trained in these special categories and how to take that. Same thing with customer service, vehicle changes, it goes to a different department. Want to make a change in policy, review your billing. Like all our customer service teams are specialized in those areas. So when I direct it to the appropriate people, and that's tough to let go of. Rather than I could just say, oh yeah, no problem, Freddie, it's going to be $84 more, which, of course I will do, but the explanation behind it and, how all the forms, all the documentation, that's all done on the back end. So that was really part of the decision going with Goosehead as well, because they have that support.
Yeah. And it's, again, even me, I'm just learning now how to let go of things, like having Will here with me now and having Luke.
It's hard. It's really, really hard.
You giving them I sometimes say the keys to the castle, the keys to the kingdom, whatever. It may not be really that serious, but because we're such customer service kind of guys, you feel like even me sending you this email about changing a phone number, I'll send it to him, and of course I'll look at it anyway. I make sure it's just like, dude, let him try.
When I first started, I was very guilty of that. I would look at the call notes. I would sometimes listen to the recorded calls of the transactions, looking up to make sure that it's done right. But after time again of my service team just knocking it out of the park, you feel better about it, and then they will loop me in if it's anything serious that I need to get involved in. So. Once seeing it in process, like I said, it's been 2 years now. So now I really have complete confidence in them. And if it's not something that's going to be handled, they're going to let me know about it. So
how long did it take you to get to that point? It's like I did it last week.
Probably about a year, probably
Hmm.
about a year. Cause like we went through some employment, challenges as a lot of businesses have gone through in the
Right.
last year. So, it wasn't as great as it could be, but they bump in the road and I think we hired like 90 more customer service reps.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so we're back up full speed ahead. So they're doing really well.
I think it's changing now. I think people are starting to realize, like I'm not saying it's going back to normal, but like, they're going back to the offices. People need gigs again. Like it's not so scary to work
Yeah.
with other people again. So yeah, I'm into that. That's cool though, man. Like for sure.
But our industry has really changed. It used to be, the down the street office, your local agent that you go to, whoever mom and dad had. And,
Hmm.
with the emergence of like Progressive and Geico and all the online abilities, the industry has really kind of shifted as far as, how we even interact, how we service, the ability of DocuSign technology.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been huge. I get very few face-to-face appointments even still. So, I mean, I would love that because,
Yeah.
I like to talk
Yeah,
and,
dude, for
hear
sure.
people's stories, but, it's changed. It really has.
Do you feel it makes a difference to have a brick and mortar in the sense of like branding and marketing and those types of things?
Tough to say. I mean, as a business owner, like it's an expense, right?
For sure.
So it costs you money to do that. I think people feel better about that.
Hmm.
Um, but everybody does everything online via
Yeah.
email, text. I mean, I have a text, so you're still going to do business the way you do. And I think one of the things I always prided myself on is like people could text me or call me at any time, and like you said, I would answer and I would
Right.
respond. It's just taking that to a whole different level. People are still working from home. A lot of our customer service teams are from home. They're remote, so it works for some people. I would much rather go to my office every day and know what I have
Yeah.
to do. Somewhat that separation, works at work. And, I'm not always guilty of following through with that, but, I try sometimes.
Yeah. It's interesting to find out in different industries because, like, for me, um, I was doing business when I invested in that little office on Morgantown Road. People just thought of me differently. Like,
Sure.
oh, okay, he has an office now. And then when I bought the building, it was like just a whole different wave of people. And I wonder, like, but you're right. Insurance has been like online and through just a phone for so long now.
Sure.
It just makes me wonder how
Yeah.
other people, change with or do their branding otherwise.
Yeah. And if you look at a company like Progressive that goes through independent agents, is one of our top carriers. I mean, they've become the number one car insurance in the world.
Mm.
They've actually passed State Farm for the first time in God forever. So, I think people change their kind of their shopping and their buying habits. Um, it's just evolution. Obviously, somebody calls me, like we can provide 30 different companies and 30 different quotes for them within 15 to 20 minutes.
That's insane.
And one thing that I didn't realize being in the business, is that different insurance companies want different things. They have different niches, they have different products. So if you have good credit, some companies are better than if maybe you didn't have so good credit.
Mm.
If you have youthful drivers, there's companies that are better with youthful drivers than not. Their risk tolerance is a little bit more open to that. Investors, I work with a ton of investors in the cities. Different products, different builders risk products, different life insurance products. So it's people like to have options, and I feel that I can provide lots of different options for clients as kind of like a one-stop shop. So it's really kind of opened my eyes because I'd been in the business a long time
Yeah.
and never really had realized that, the different tolerance risk for different types of companies.
I didn't know credit score was a factor in insurance.
Sure. It's a huge
Wow.
component.
What's the difference in like pricing, you think?
It really depends. I mean, most companies do what's called like a soft pull inquiry, and
Mhm.
combined with that claims history, accidents, motor vehicle reports, and then they come up with their insurance score, which your rates
Right.
posted on. But there's been studies a long time. People with better credit have less claims, payouts are less. Like I was like that too. I'm like, that's not fair.
Yeah, it
But
seems like stereotyping things,
sure.
right?
But then when you look at the numbers, I think I even did a presentation one time, that some information that I got. But when you look at the numbers, the severity, the frequency, are lower with higher credit people. I don't know if that's fair to sham in a box that way, but they have the data. Everything is data driven.
Oh man, tell me about it. Everything is data driven. Well, it makes sense because I mean, I think about my accidents. For me and you personally, I've had to do two, but one was a guy took my driver's side mirror off, a true green truck. I was parked, just hit it. I'm like, well, that wasn't my fault. And the other one was I went to Panera with Jill, in broadcasting square, whatever. Came out and somebody swiped the whole side of my truck, you know. But other than that, I don't think I've ever been in. Yeah, and I have pretty good credit, ladies and gentlemen. So this maybe we're just more careful.
Yeah, and like I said, not saying that you can't get good rates if your credit's not as good. There's just different companies that are better with that, and you just me as a broker, I got to find the best product and best company for that said person. Like it's not like I actually see the credit score and I could say.
Right.
But with years of doing it, quoting it, you can kind of see which company you're going to go with.
No, for sure. I never knew that was a fact.
Yeah.
What's some like insurance trends that you're seeing? Like what's kind of changing, or what do you see happening, or
Well, it's kind of, there's like a soft market and hard market for insurance. And obviously with this economy, the hard market is a lot of insurance companies, we call it what's like a hard market. So a lot of insurance companies are increasing rates. They're tightening their guidelines, meaning, they're not looking to write as much business,
Right.
just due to, things that have happened over the last couple of years. If you think about COVID, like a lot of insurance companies, they did the right thing. A lot of people were working from home. Rates were reduced. Most of the good companies really gave rate back, because people weren't driving, claims were down, people weren't on the road, so companies gave that rate back. But it's not like the average consumer or customer is going to be like, "Hey, insurance guy, hey Brad, I'm going back to work. I'm commuting 84 miles each way to Harrisburg again. Can you please put my rates back to where they were?"
Right.
So that doesn't happen. And then, now claims are higher again. Severity's up. So now insurance companies are taking a lot of that rate back. The other issue that we see is, with the supply chains, for parts, for materials, building costs, reconstruction costs for homes, home values going up. Okay. So like, your house is worth 300,000, 5 years ago is probably worth 500,000 now. So, most homeowners insurance has some sort of inflation adjustment where they increase the amount of your coverages, but market is up, so a lot of insurance companies are taking 10, 15% on just market adjustment rates.
Right.
Labor costs are up, material costs are up. So, reinsurance costs are up. So like reinsurance is kind of like insurance for insurance companies.
Okay.
So like the insurance by like reinsurance. We've heard like as much as like a 60% increase for these reinsurance companies. So it's really impacting the insurance industry as a whole. So that's kind of what we're seeing. And unfortunately, it's not really good things, but I think, if you have a claim, you're going to want to make sure that you have those increase in coverage because they want to be able to make you whole again and provide you what you have. And unfortunately, they're going to have to take, these adjustments to do that.
Yeah, dude, I feel that. I mean, the world changed.
It really has.
The world changed, and now we got to go back to, or trying to go back to things that we used to do, and we're realizing that everything just went up.
Yeah,
that's just where we're at.
And new construction was down. They stopped building houses for a while. I think the real estate. I saw the recent real estate update. I think our boy Dave Mattis did. It was like there was like 300 and some homes on the market. 60 of those were like city homes, another 40 new construction. So you essentially have like 250 houses on the market for everyone to buy,
Right.
which is just, again, supply and demand. It's just driving the pricing of costs up.
Well, wood was like $1 million a board.
It really was. I mean, plywood went from like $5 a sheet to like $20 a sheet.
What the hell, man?
Yeah.
It was
Unfortunately,
insane.
it's affected everything though, you know?
No, everything went up, dude. I mean, we all had to like deal with that, and I know I had to finally send out that email to a bunch of my clients, like, hey, like I held off as long as I could.
Yeah.
You know, when I got the new just server fees, just so I could have your website just up on the internet. Ay. I mean, you know,
the costs are the costs, and unfortunately, insurance is one of those things that it's necessary. It's state mandated. So,
Yep.
The one thing you always try to do is you try to find your clients the best product, make sure they're educated on what they buy, make sure they have good coverages in place. And the cost is what it is. The good part is being a true independent broker is that I can show them 10 different companies. And we're going to make sure that they have the best costs. Hopefully save them a lot of time and a lot of money from having to do that. To have to go through all individual different companies to get those quotes. So, but another advantage too is we can reshop. So like if we did your insurance, last year, if your company has a huge rate increase, we can always requote it and try to find you a different product or a better rate. So,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So what's next for Mr. Coley? What's the goals looking like? What's the moves looking like?
Obviously, we bought a building recently.
Right on, dude.
So
No.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. Kind of elbows deep in construction. We gutted 2 offices and revamped those.
Which they look amazing. I saw the pictures on Facebook, dude.
Thanks, man.
Corey Gilbert, shout out.
Corey Gilmore, he's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. We've been doing a lot of it ourselves. Aaron, Doug, Deb, and I are business partners. So yeah, it's a lot of work. So we're working on that. I'm trying to get that situated and get that rented. So if you know anybody looking for commercial space,
yeah, dude,
let me know. So just as far as I really kind of want to build my company. I'm not at a point where I'm ready to hire anyone yet. I have some goals that are pretty within reach, probably in the next 6 months that I'll get to a certain number where I want to be at, and then maybe look at expanding. But it's also, this economy, you don't know. But yeah, I think, I really enjoy what I'm doing. I have for the last 15 years. I think I'm pretty good at it. I like going out and networking. I like being involved in my community with our sports organization. So, I'm just going to continue to work hard and be me. And, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 years, we'll have a couple different, reps under me and, get more involved in the real estate game. And that's kind of the goal.
Dig it, man. Talk to me about the community stuff. I want to hear about that because I just did Dream League last night.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm still like amped up on it because it was the first game of the season and I was freezing my ass off because I forgot to bring a coat. Because I left here late. I'm like, I gotta go. And I left and I got to the field and I was like, oh shit. And I'm the only guy in a t-shirt. And I'm just like shaking the whole time.
Yeah, you like the t-shirts. So.
I do. This is actually an FXV shirt. It actually says FXV. Yeah. It's my man Adam Serrano designed it for me.
Very nice.
Very cool. But yeah, man, what are you guys doing?
So, I've been a part of Muhlenberg Township Athletic Association for like 14 years.
Okay.
It kind of started as my older son, who's going to be 19, when he was 5, like playing flag football. And it was mostly out of frustration. A gentleman running our football program at the time, Chris Rare, I went up to him, I'm like, this is the most screwed up, disorganized thing I've ever seen. And he just started laughing at me. He goes, yeah, I know. You want to help? I was like, what do you need help with? And then, I started helping out with football, and then, obviously baseball is more of a passion of mine. And then I started getting involved in baseball, and then I started running our baseball program. And then, that grew into a board role, and, now I'm president of the association. So that takes up a lot of my time. I enjoy it. I really love watching the kids come. I would like to honestly get out at some point.
Okay.
I gave a year's notice last year that I was going to be done in January, but um, you know, I'm still there. It's become like the running joke. When am I going to get out? My daughter's 11, so this is like, her last year in the organization. I think we got some really good people involved that will allow me to step away, but I don't want to just leave it. I
Yeah.
think I've worked really hard to, get the organization in a good position, especially going through the whole COVID thing where we didn't have any sports basically
Right.
for a year and a half. So I do a lot of that. I'm on the Muhlenberg Township Parks and Rec board. So
Parks and Rec.
yeah, which is nothing like the show.
Yeah.
But we have some great, really, really great people, Karen Schreiber, Heather Carter that run that
Right.
organization. When you get involved in things, as you're involved in a lot, you don't realize all the work that goes into doing that. And we have amazing people in both boards that do a lot of good for the community. It's interesting. So, I mean, I enjoy it. I like giving back. I really do. Baseball was kind of like my grandfather and I's bond. He took me my first Phillies game. He umpired. So I'm kind of like doing kind of the same thing. But I enjoy it. I really do. I'll miss it, but
Yeah.
there's other goals and other things you want to do.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's why I only did Dream League, because it's not so demanding. I mean, they ask me for a day a week when there's a game.
Right.
It allows me to get my baseball Jones in, because if I
Yep.
really joined some kind of a baseball organization, FXB would probably close, because I'd probably jump into it so hard, man, because I just love baseball.
Yeah, I love the Dream League. We took our 12U travel boys, and we usually try to do a game a year, and just to see our kids interact with their kids, and it's really a great thing.
Yeah, I
It really
love
is.
Dream League. I love the kids. I mean, going there last night, me and Holler were there, and they're just laughing again. And and I feel bad because I just can't remember all their names.
Yeah.
I really wish I could. Holler's really good at that stuff, but
Yeah.
some kids come over, hey Fred, and I'm like, suck.
Yeah, I got a couple of them hit me up on Facebook, like my
Yeah.
buddy Colin. He's
Oh, Deckman.
yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. I
Yeah,
remember him.
We're
Colin
Facebook
Deckman.
friends, man. He
Yeah.
always comes up and talks to me. So
Yeah, Deckman's the man.
yeah, he'll like ask me questions on my posts
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, even doing it like once or twice a year, it's
Yeah.
just connection you made, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, I mean, community is just, it's fun to do it. I love doing it. I always try to take photos of it. I try to take videos of it, because I want to put it out. Like, I'm not waving my flag, dude. I just want people to see that you can have a good time, helping people, or helping
Yeah.
kids especially. I mean, I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Me too. And I don't, I post a lot on Facebook. My wife makes fun of me. You're a Mr. Facebook or whatever. But I don't, my memory's not that good. Like, I want to remember this stuff, like
That's true.
the year flashbacks, the 3-year flashbacks, the 5-year flashbacks. And then when I send my wife screenshots, like, hey, we did this 7 years ago. And she's like, oh my God, look at our children, or look at what we did. Like,
Yeah.
like that's like the morning, like, hey, this is awesome. You feel
Yeah.
really good about that. So
It's like, look, I never always had a gray beard.
yeah.
It's like, it used to be brown a long time ago.
Not only that, like something with the Dream League. Like if I share that and I can expand that and to my, 1,500, friends or so, like
Right.
maybe other people will want to get involved and be able to help out because they need it,
Well, that's what I want, because even last night, this gentleman, Tom, that does Dream League stuff, he's always the pitcher. He was like, hey, man, I saw you on Facebook. What was the thing with the lab coat? And I was like, oh, it's this cool thing called Science Explorers.
You and I talked about that.
yeah, and I was like, you should check it out. And like, because he's a big community guy, obviously, because I've seen him there every year. I've been with Dream League. And I was like, dude, they do science projects. He's like, well, I sucked at science. He's like, did you have to teach? I'm like, no, are you kidding me? I wouldn't trust myself with anything. I was like, I was just there as the guy, and I sponsored that one event, and, you help them out. But the kids, they just love it, man. You walk
Yeah.
in with a lab coat, they're like, ooh, this guy's got to be smart or know something about science. Little do they know, I don't know shit about science. I failed it in high school. I was like, I was just there to give you guys a good time and look smart, because I have glasses and a lab coat. Obviously, they think I know what I'm doing.
But make an impact. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You money's money, business is business, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not why we do what we do, right?
Right.
But, to give back, to be a part of the community, like, my son, I've coached a lot of this senior baseball class now. It's like, I said to my wife, I umpired a game and I'm like, I'm going to go over watch the end of the Muhlenberg game. She's like, your kid didn't play last year. I'm like, yeah, but my other 11 kids that are on the team
Right.
did, and there's no better feeling. Like, they still call me coach. Like, they see me sitting up on the stands. Like, I just want to see them all do well. Like, I feel like, I don't know if it's weird or not, but I feel like a connection. Like, they're kind of all my guys.
Well, coaching is like almost like a second dad for a lot of those kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm,
some of them are first
Mm-hmm.
male role model, first, person that, they've ever had a connection outside their family. Some of these coaches, these kids I coached since they were 5 up to senior, obviously after 12 or 13, I let them actually go get coached by people who know a lot more than I do.
I know, right?
But I felt like I did a good job, made a lot of good connections. Some of them text me and, I'm still trying to, run our older division, baseball division, and keep them in the family rather than to go out. But, it's just the good connections,
It's cool to see him grow up because, last night there was a kid, Kevin Kenna. I remember his name. I didn't recognize him anymore. And Hollow was like, that's Kevin Kenna, dude. Like, because I know we used to talk about him because he was this little, small kid doing, like, great things in the field. He'd wear, like, lays and he'd wear sunglasses and all these crazy things. And I was like, that's not Kevin Kenna. Kevin Kenna's this little kid. No, man. You forget that they grow.
I know.
Like children, they grow up.
It's crazy.
Like, wow, man, look at this kid, and I don't coach these kids. I don't, hang out with them at all. But for those 2 or 3 hours on Monday nights, I'm doing Dream League. I feel like I have a little part of their awesomeness.
Yeah.
And so when you watch them grow just a little bit, you're like, wow, like
it's awesome, man.
Life goes, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop for anyone, dude.
Absolutely. And it's just, you want to be there. Like me personally, being a dad is probably the most important thing in my life.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I try not to miss anything, I really do. And being self-employed, there's a huge value. It's hard, but it's also easy too if you schedule your time appropriately. Like I'll leave for my kid's game today at 3:45 because I'm not missing it.
Right.
But then I'll go home and I'll work for a couple hours, 6 to 8, and get my stuff done that I need to do. So, that's important as well. So,
yeah.
it's all about the kids, man. And now that my son is now going to be 19 and playing college baseball, like it went by like that. My daughter's 11. I'm like, man, it's not that far away,
Nope, it's not. Hey, man, when I met you, my kids were in middle school?
Yes.
Yeah, they're 21. They don't, one doesn't live with me. The other one's already doing her own thing. 21, going to turn 22 in July.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What the hell happened?
I don't know, man. I have Brad. He's, in college. Christian's a freshman. He'll be 16 this year. So he'll be driving. And then my daughter's 11. So it's got him spread out a little bit. But yeah, man, it goes quick.
Super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Brad, thanks, bro.
Thank you,
Thanks for
man.
coming. This was a good time, dude.
Yeah, man, it was good.
See,
it was good.
simple.
You kind of hit me a little off guard,
Conversation.
some conversations, but it was good.
Well, it was cool. We went to lunch, man, and I was like, I haven't had Brad on yet. But then we had such a good conversation at lunch.
Sure.
I was like, okay. Like, I know a lot of people. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that should have been on already. But when you had that little...
I was just messing with it.
No, believe me, I get that one. But then when you get you have that one little innocent, like, hey, you were just like, hey, you want to go get lunch? And I'm like, okay, and we went and just got lunch. And let me tell you, that's so refreshing because I'm not going to name names, but a lot of people are like, hey, you want to get lunch? And then it's like, oh, I got this thing. And I was like, why can't we just go to lunch?
Oh, man.
And you were just like, so what's up, bro? And you were just talking to me, asking me how I'm doing.
Yeah.
And how you're doing. And I'm like, fucking Brad just wanted to have lunch.
Dude, I missed you. We hadn't seen each other in a while. Yeah. And, I just wanted to reconnect with you, man. So
cool, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
dude.
for
that
sure.
means a lot. Believe me, and you didn't want to sound corny, but in the way things are going and so many people and blah, 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 it's nice to just be like, hey, man, want to get lunch?
Yeah, man. It's hard to do. And we really need to do that more. So,
well, everybody should do that more.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, dude. So, Brad, thanks a lot for coming in, bro. And I'm sure we'll be doing it again real soon.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, Thanks for checking out this episode of Fred Talk. If you totally got into what you just saw, make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. Check out the playlist because there's other cool people too. And if you can't watch all the time, check it out on any podcast outlet. Don't forget, your Uncle Freddie loves you. Peace.